With 3 former pros, a recently turned 18-year-old, and an up-and-comer SMG player, what's there not to like about Sicario gaming? Well, for one, the pool. That's one thing not to like. But there are a lot of hopes and a lot of dreams built into the Sicario team, and honestly, a lot of potential for them to make it not only through the bracket, but maybe a potential dark horse run. I had a chance to talk to Exceed about the team, its experience, and its moves looking forward as we dig into this 32 on 32. COD fans, what up? Welcome back. IHOLDSHIFT. Good to see you guys. It really is. It is a pleasure seeing you, although I can't see you, actually. I know it might give the illusion of I can see you, but I actually can't. You can see me. It's good that you can see me. It sounds weird to say it that way. Let's dig into this. Let's get away from the nonsense and talk about Sicario Gaming, which there's not a lot of nonsense involved with this team, really whatsoever, because it's a very, very solid team. Again, like I mentioned, as you take a look at this team as a whole, this was a squad that finished top 6 at CWL Miami. Technically the third place North American team, and I say that with quotes because Tommy and Lenny are both technically Englishmen that are playing with this squad to get themselves going. So you take a look at their pool. Again, this is the only thing that's not to like about this squad. You're dealing with 100 Thieves and Midnight, and even Fury Gaming is not a team to just shrug away. You have to be prepared for this squad because they're actually not bad at all either. So that's really the only real downside to Sicario Gaming, is that they're in a very difficult pool when it comes to being able to break into the top 2. The only reason why I really say that so emphatically is because a lot of people are discrediting, I think, Midnight Esports, and I'm not 100% sure why, because their stat line since the roster change have been very, very good. They've been looking very solid, and we'll talk about that more later. But I want to talk about this team first, this Sicario Gaming team first. 13-8. At CWL Miami. You take a look back to Vegas, 3 players got through the PLQ in Tommy, Chino, and Proto. Again, you know the story behind those guys, I'm imagining, but reciprocity for Tommy. G2 Esports is what Chino started on, and UYU is where Proto was at that time the starter for that roster. It was Lenny. He got himself some experience playing at the PLQ, or not the PLQ, but the Vegas Open, where he played with Bulldog Esports for a top 64 finish. Fort Worth, Exceed again, not 18 yet. Lenny not able to make the trip. Really only represented by Reciprocity, and then Chino would be on Enigma 6 for that matchup, and then UYU would still have the rights to Proto. Then you go to London. That's the last event that Tommy plays. Proto's technically, I believe, the sub there when it comes down to UYU, and then Lenny was playing on Legion Nation where he finished top 12. Then you get to Anaheim, and it's Proto and Exceed who team up on the Scuff and Comeback Season squad with Spacely and them. They finish 4th, and Lenny is on the Fierce Esports squad where they finish 8th. Tommy, again, taking the breakaway. Chino not able to find himself a team, or not really sure what the situation was with him, but he doesn't play at Anaheim. Then this team forms just before Miami, and they're able to finish top 6. A very impressive performance for them, and a lot of consideration, I think, for Lenny in that little clutch that he had. I had a chance to talk to Exceed a little bit more at length, specifically about that moment where he gets that 1v2 clutch. But I want to talk about this team a little bit more at length as far as what their road was coming through the bracket at CWL Miami. They were able to go up against Elite Esports, which is a team that was a top 28 seeded squad. Was not the greatest lineup in the world, but you thought they would do better than they did. They found a 2-0 versus them in the winners round 3. Get into the qualifying match that actually plays up against Sage Esports, where they beat them in 5. And then, this is the big key, they played up against Fury Gaming, who's in their pool, in losers round 5, and they beat them 3-0. So that's major, I think, when you take a look at that from Sicario's point of view. You got a lot of familiarity versus Fury Gaming. They would then go up against Team War, and they would lose that 3-0. Then they would go back down to the losers bracket, play up against Sage again, and this time Sage would get the better of them in map 4. So like I mentioned, I had a chance to sit down and talk to Exceed not only about himself, but also the roster as a whole, and kind of how their transformation has kind of come to be since just before Miami, looking forward to World Championships and where they're hoping that they can find some favor in this very devastating pool. Joining me now, the young phenom from Sicario. Yes, Exceed, I'm already going there. It is Exceed from Sicario. Made waves at Anaheim, continued to do so at Miami, and is now looking for potentially a tsunami when it comes to World Championships. You have my attention, Exceed. Again, let's just hit the nail in the coffin right now as far as the opening statements. You're the new guy on the block. You're surrounded by a bunch of people who have been in the Pro League for the majority of the season, with the exception of Lenny, who comes over with some experience with Tommy. So kind of talk to me about being that rising star, I guess you'll say, in this team specifically.
To be honest with you, like, this is my first year, like, competing, like, full on serious. Because like last year, like I used to play like GBs with my friends, but like nothing serious. And so like this year I turned 18, and it was looking slow to be honest with you before Anaheim. And I'm really good friends with Haggy,
Sure.
and so I was messaging him. I was like, so Spacey's team was playing with somebody that I didn't think was good before Miami or before Anaheim. And so I hit him up. I was like, yo, you got to talk to these guys, bro. And so like him, and I don't know if you know who Nair Poison is.
Yeah, I do.
He's really close with Tyler Fellow. And so they both DM'd them for me. They're like, bro, you guys got to pick this guy up. And they were like, I don't know. They were supposed to run with Chino before me.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they kind of like sketched on Cheen. So this is a little intel, but and then we ended up playing, and they picked me up, and you know I've gotten a lot better, like playing with all these pros and like just like players that know what they're doing. They've helped me a lot, like learn like how to play the game. So yeah, it's been fun, and I'm just like really hoping to play well at champs because of next year of franchising and everything. So it's important.
Yeah, a lot of expectations for the future, not just in the immediate. I totally get that, especially as, who knows what's going to happen for the Tier 2 seed next year. We're obviously crossing our fingers, but again, those are all question marks. So I got to just know, again, just hitting this one more time as far as this team is concerned in specific, you're dealing with a lot of, again, former pros. Tommy, who's has a great mind for the game, and Chino, who's got a ton of experience, Proto, who's really kind of come up over the last year and a half, 2 years. So who is like really like the leader of this team, would you say, as far as, how calls are handled or how like the mindset of the team is kind of developed?
It's definitely Tommy, but like not just Tommy. Like we all have our like input on it. It's like when we're making play calls, or like even at Miami, when we're doing vetoes, like we all talk to each other. Like
Cool.
Tommy's always sitting next to me. He's always like, "Yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?" So it's like he's really good. Like he keeps us in like shape and know what we need to do. But like he helps a lot, and but it's a team effort. So.
Fair enough, and a team effort was definitely shown as you guys cruised your way through the winners bracket of Miami, getting pretty decently far up until you came up against the eventual winners in Team War, where you guys found yourselves a 3-0. And then in the losers bracket, you were able to slide right back down, and it kind of felt like it was a little bit of a disappointing result for you guys after you went up against Sage Esports in the 3-1 there. So kind of take me through that journey as far as when this team initially formed. I think you had mentioned a week or so before Miami, up until you guys were officially knocked out. What were kind of the vibes going through, and like how quickly does this team learn?
Dude, like this is my favorite team I've ever like played with. Like I have a circle of friends that are all cool and stuff, but like this team is just like all good vibes. And leading into Miami, like we were okay. Like we were good. We knew we were gonna qualify. Like we weren't worried about that. And so we went into it just thinking, let's qualify for champs, and then let's worry about winning the tournament. That's all we need to do. And when we started, so we beat Sage Friday night for champs. That was a crazy series. And then we went in Saturday morning, played Teddy Rex and them. They're in our pool. We 3-0'd them. We were feeling pretty good. And then we went into the Team War series, and we just didn't play it together at all. Like that was the reason we lost. Like I thought that we shoot straighter than them. Like they're a good team. I give them all props, but I thought that our teamwork was completely off, and that's something that we've been fixing, and it's been looking a lot better. And then we got knocked out there, so it was tough.
Now, going into the pool specifically, you mentioned that matchup versus Fury Gaming. I'm glad you did, because obviously they're in your pool. So there's got to be a little bit of confidence as far as how you guys at least match up a second time versus them after the 3-0. But I want to get your take as far as Midnight Gaming, a squad that initially after the roster change, I think the general consensus, maybe just slight majority, thought, how is this team really going to function together? They've really kind of proved that this team does in fact work together. But beyond that, you're also dealing with arguably the most team-centric squad ever to touch the game, at least for Black Ops 4 and 100 Thieves. How do you guys kind of mentally try to approach those two matchups specifically between you and Midnight and you versus 100 Thieves?
To be honest with you, I don't even think we're really worried about it. We're just, me personally, I'm just more anxious to play right now. Like, we played Midnight right before Miami in the 2500 UMG Rumble in the finals.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
We beat them 3-2. So like, just like that's just an automatic confidence boost, knowing that you can beat them, you're better than them. And 100 Thieves, like obviously like they're friends with our teammates, so like I mean we know what they do, so it's like it's something that we're prepared for, and like people don't have a lot of VODs on us, so going into this, I'm really excited, to be honest with you. So.
Now, and again, with a lot of the members on your team, I just want to kind of get a general feel as far as what, as an audience, we might be able to expect when we tune into you guys. It kind of feels like it's an interesting pacing kind of set because Proto has always been a very kind of up forward aggressive player. Tommy's always been kind of that flex right in the middle. Chino's always been that main solid anchor. But we've also seen that when you were playing at Anaheim, Miami, you like to get up and in there. And apparently Lenny as well likes to get up and in there. So would you kind of classify your guys as like a fast-paced team or more of a methodical, break down what's happening and then be able to approach it together team?
I think we actually have like a perfect like in between because people think Nick's like a fast-paced player. He's super methodical. Like he thinks about every single thing he's doing on the map. And so like Tommy and Tommy and Preto are sitting there to me and Cheen, and they're like, or to me and Lenny, and they're like, dude, you guys gotta stop ego chown, bro. You guys are young, and we're just me and Lenny are flying at these guys, just shooting everywhere. But it's nice to have those guys that are like slow down and like. I still think we're a fast-paced team, but we think about a lot of the stuff we do. So.
And last reaction, and this is more just an emotional thing. Lenny in that last 1v1, what were those comms like when he clutches that up?
Bro, okay, so the part about that is that I'm not throwing Lenny under the bus. He made a great play, but if he would have made a better play before that, he would have not have been in that situation. He could have traded with Tom, and they would have been a 2v2, and we would have been solid going into that. We kind of threw that map too. We were he pulled us out, but now when we stood up, it was just so loud. My voice was gone that night. It was hooked. Oh my god, Lenny stood up and he was just giving him it, bro. It was great. It was fun.
Well, hopefully we'll see some more interactions like that. I know just our first-hand experience, we were expecting something like that from someone like you. Let's be honest. That interview in Anaheim had me in tears. But of course, best of luck to you guys. Again, thanks so much, Exceed, for joining me. Best of luck again, like I mentioned, in the pools.
Thank you, brother, man.
You got it. Exceed is probably, I'll just go ahead and say it, one of my most favorite personalities in the open scene. Really fun guy. If you haven't had a chance to stop by either his stream or have a conversation with him, I recommend you do so because he's a super cool dude. But I want to talk just briefly as we look at the pools again about this Midnight team and why I'm just kind of confused that everybody is kind of shrugging them off, to be completely honest, because this is a squad that's looked very, very good. Their hard point has been incredibly good, a plus 30 or so average when it comes down to their hard points so far since the roster changed. They are a little bit down in their search and destroy, but just barely, but they're also very good at control. So this Midnight team has found a lot of favor in the respawn specifically, which is again the biggest strength I think of this pool as a whole is the respawn. 100 Thieves, their weakest mode is search and destroy. Midnight, their weakest mode is search and destroy. And then who knows what's going to happen with the open teams. Sicario Gaming seems to be feeling pretty confident about their search. Fury Gaming, of course, they've got Teddy Rex on their squad, and he's going to be feeling confident about their search and destroy, but it wasn't able to help them much when it came down to the open bracket. So I think this pool is going to be really dictated by who wins hard points and controls, more than necessarily the search and destroys, which is kind of like the key kind of component to a lot of other pools. So that's kind of my concerns about Sicario, is will they be able to get through Midnight strong respawn? I don't see them really getting a chance to get through 100 Thieves. Again, the 100 Thieves team is just too good. They're looking like a championship contender, pretty easily a championship contender. And Midnight is going to be, I think, a surprise to a lot of people. I would not sleep on Midnight. I also would not bet on Midnight because we never know what kind of Midnight team we're going to get. Sometimes they show up and they're just not ready to play at all, and they get destroyed. But with Zap and Royalty being in the mix, and Frosty being added as well, this team has definitely gotten a lot better. Definitely one of the better Midnight teams we've seen this year outside of the initial one that got through the PLQ. So that's kind of my reactions and thoughts about Sicario Gaming. Be interested to see what you guys have to say about this mix together of players. A very strong roster on paper. As far as what do you guys think they're going to finish? What do you think they're going to do? Let me know in the comments below. We'll be back with more content after this, though. So if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you ring the notification bell on your way out to know when my videos do pop up live. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Till the next one, hope you keep holding it down. Later, bye-bye.